Hey class, I'm happy to be with you here virtually. Thank you for allowing me to be in two places at once. We are going to be doing some research and some webinar viewing here this evening, and then we're going to reconvene here at 8:30 just to review kind of what you found and to discuss your field experiences these first 2 weeks. I know some of you just got started this week, so I definitely want to touch base and make sure we're connecting about your experiences so far and then what you have found this evening. So here is what I would like you to do tonight. I am going to email you a list of resources. One is an Ask a Webinar about data-driven programming that's really good and just really kind of walks you through how to derive meaningful programming and how to present it in a way that your stakeholders are going to hear you, meaning your school board, your community members, your business department that might be paying for whatever materials or resources you might need to run the program or the event that you're wanting to do. So I really think having that background information and just that context is going to help you as you're developing your family outreach plan. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to look at the template that I finally got my hands on. And so here's what your proposed internship activity plan or your family outreach plan is going to look like. Again, it's 100 points, but remember, as long as you are covering everything that's listed on here and you are hitting each component of this plan, you should have no problem getting full points on this assignment. So name your activity or your event or your program. It should be clear so that when somebody reads that title, they know exactly what that is and it grabs their attention. I think a lot of times in education, we use a lot of jargon, we use a lot of acronyms, so definitely try to avoid those kinds of things in your title and make it clear that anybody who reads that would have an understanding of what that looks like and what it's about. Your domain, so clearly outline what domain of the ASCA model it aligns with. If you want to highlight specifically where it hits on the different competencies, that's great. But definitely have that domain listed. And obviously it's okay if it covers more than one. Your format. So just tell us basically like you want to be able to hand this document to somebody and then be able to replicate it. So tell them how long they're going to need, like what space they're going to need, what it's going to look like. Just kind of do like your walkthrough of what that looks like in the formatting part. Materials, that's pretty straightforward. So is there any kind of supplemental documents, materials, handouts, things that you would need to make this program or event happen? How are you going to advertise? This is really important because I feel like there's a lot of times where we come up with these great ideas or we even have like these great speakers that come in and then you don't get the numbers. So working with maybe your communications department to see what are your options for advertising within the department? Do they have social media? Do they have a Friday email that they push out every week? Is there a newsletter? Is there local grocery stores that you could put up flyers at? So just kind of identifying the different areas where you could connect and get the word out there to your school district and your community. Summary of your activity. So this is what you should kind of walk through start to finish, how it begins and how it ends. So just walk us through what your event or your activity is going to look like. If you have handouts or things that you are including in your activity, I would ask that you please also submit them with your activity plan. And then the final component of this is just your presentation to the class. So it doesn't have to be a formal presentation. You don't have to do PowerPoint slides. However, I feel like sometimes that makes things a little bit easier to kind of frame your presentation and just give you talking points, but that's not an expectation. Just the biggest thing with the presentation to the class is making sure you're covering all the components that are listed in your activity plan, and that if you have handouts, that you're also providing them to the class. Because part of what we're doing is also just building a resource database for each other. So if we're coming across great resources, we're sharing them. When we're building these activity plans and lesson plans and group lessons, we're sharing them out so that we have that shared library of resources. So this is just an example, a sample plan of one that somebody had done that Professor Bartow had shared with me. So it gives you an idea of what to look like. Again, if you have any questions, we can, when we pull back together as a group, we can walk through those and say, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Is this a good plan? Another thing I would like you to do is go to your school district's website and take a look at your demographics. So I'm going to stop sharing this quick. Take a look at your demographics and look, do they have the SES makeup of your district listed? Do they have the racial ethnicity of your district listed? I feel like those kind of things are really helpful, just to kind of have like a snapshot of your district, like who is the population that you're serving. And when you're doing your presentation, to share that information with us so that we can get a feel for what your what makes your plan purposeful and meaningful is that you're using this data of your school district and helping to meet the needs of your student and your community population. So expectations after this is access to the ASCA webinar, which I'm going to post this video tonight, and I'm also going to post that tonight. So if you do that in your own time and you're getting those hours in your own time, that's fine. Anytime between now and 8:30 tomorrow is the expectation for getting that completed. And then we will meet back on here after my back to school night has completed at 8:30, and we'll meet from 8:30 to 9:30 tomorrow night. So please plan on that. And in the interim, if you have questions or concerns, you can always call me, text me. I apologize for my voice. I'm just like getting over a sinus infection. I did have to get a COVID test because my sinus infection mirrored COVID testing. But I am feeling on the mend. That was another reason why I waited to record this, because my son told me that I sounded like a boy frog, which is very endearing. You always count on the honesty of your 11-year-old children. So yes, that's why I had waited to record this until you could understand me a little bit better. And today I'm feeling about 80% on the mend. So take some time, use this as an opportunity to do some research and get started on your project. And I will see you at 8:30 on Thursday evening on Zoom. Thanks so much.